This is the Limitless Range podcast. I am your host, Corey Chandler. I'm sitting down with my co-host, Petey Podlow.
What's up?
And our producer, Dougie Fresh. As always, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at One Limitless Range. You can also get to us on our website, limitlessrangepodcast.com, or reach us by phone, 360-356-1699. All right, fellas, what's going on? What's going on, Petey Podlow? How's your week going?
It's going good, brother. Other than the fact that I'm losing to you in fantasy, you know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm feeling pretty good. Nah, man, it's been a tough week. You know, obviously we've talked about this with with our listeners and our battles and things like that. You know, we've talked about our fantasy matchups and stuff. And, you know, I got to give you props as well. You did have some, you're never a guy to make excuses. I know that. But you did have some injury trouble. You know, Giannis sat some games. You had some other dudes sit some games. You picked up a guy, then he sits. You know, but from a fantasy expert's perspective, that being me, I thought you did a great job. You know, I really did. I thought you made, the ads that you needed to make to keep it close, and it just, I don't know.
I don't think anyone would have been able to push you as much as I did with the hand I was dealt.
No, I agree
mean,
with
even you agreed. Like, you thought you had me like locked up a long time ago, and
yeah,
I at least pushed you a little bit. You know, a little bit.
Yeah, I thought 5 days in, I honestly thought, I'm like, it's done. But I thought you did a great job. But we'll see between our Jersey winner Kyle and Trey, who we bring up a lot. They're in a battle to the final seconds today to find out who plays next week. So
yeah, it's a good.
That's gonna be a good one. What about you, Dougie Fresh? How's your week going?
It's going great. Hey, it's March Madness, basketball on all day, every day.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's always it's always good. You guys. I forgot to fill out a bracket, man. I'm disappointed in myself. I got to the next morning. That's like, it kills the whole March Madness, right?
Oh, my God.
I know. It kills the whole March Madness. I was like, all right, I got to fill one out. I tried, and then Trey's internet broke on me, and it just didn't work out.
Hey, well, you're going to miss a paycheck now just for that.
I know, my bad.
I'm
going to have an NBA podcast, and I ain't even filling out a bracket.
Right.
Well, today, guys, we're going to do some MVP talk. A little MVP talk. It's getting near the end of the season. And we've got a good question from Jersey winner Kyle, actually, that we'll discuss as well.
That bozo?
Yeah. Well, he sent in like 10 questions. I picked the one good one.
Nice.
But I got a good question. If you feel like going on a rant, by all means. We missed a rant last week, so it should be a good week to do it. Be all pent up,
Find something, I'm sure.
Then we'll see if Pete's got a buzzer beater at the end of the podcast and go from there. So MVP talk, really, it was getting down to just a few top guys. But lately, the way that Harden's been playing, a lot of people think that he's kind of locked it up. He's now scored 30 points or more against every team in the league. He put up, what would you say, Pete? He put up 60 points.
61 points
recently. Yeah.
Against the Spurs. It was a comeback win.
Yeah. Do you think that this locks him in for it? No more Giannis talk or anything like that?
Yeah, I had it close going in the whole year. And, with Giannis sitting a bunch of games, like a little... I don't even want to say it, but whatever. I mean, he cost me my a chance in this fantasy matchup. I mean, he didn't play. It was close. Him sitting out really sucked, but whatever. I just feel like James Harden's played every game, and I've always had them really neck and neck. Even Paul George, and Paul George has fallen off big time.
Yeah,
with his performances recently, missing a few games and then not playing well. I just got to give the edge to Harden. I'm not one of those type of people that's going to be like, well, I said it, so I'm sticking with it. I try to go off the facts. I always try to go off the facts,
Yeah, and you've always been a realist.
Yeah, I always keep it real. Like, whoever I think has the edge is who I'm going to give it to. And I feel like right now Harden has the edge, and he's kind of earned it. Even though Giannis is the better two-way player, just dropping 61 against a fellow playoff team who you're competing for with seeding, and they were the hottest team in the NBA too. 9-game win streak, I think they ended. And just seeing all that and the 30 points against every single team, it's really hard not to give it to Harden right now. So, and he's brought his team up to a higher seed because, for the criteria that they give us, I felt, Harden's being the 6th seed or whatever he was at the time, 7th seed. it wasn't enough, you know. And now his team's like what, the
3 seed.
3 seed, yeah. So
that's true.
it's a big change in that too. So
what do you think, Corey?
I mean, just as Pete said, just the things he's done offensively this year are just so impressive. I mean, that stretch, that run that he went on, with all those 30-point games, and just it was incredible to watch. I don't know why it was like I don't know if we just didn't want to talk about it, or we weren't really like giving him as much praise. At least I wasn't on my end. I think it was very impressive, but it wasn't like it was shocking to me. And then I started looking at his numbers and the points he was putting up compared to past performances of similar things, and it's like, good God, this guy's on a tear, man. I mean, it's unbelievable the points he scored this year. I mean, I know his usage rate is through the roof, but it's impressive what he's created. And like you said, Pete, I mean, against the Spurs down the stretch here, I mean, I think they were losing that game too, and he made a good. They came back, didn't they? I feel like they were down.
Back.
Yeah,
he came back.
And I mean, against Popovich, so. We talk about Popovich and the defensive systems he's able to run. He went into that game with some sort of Pop doesn't just show up out of bed and throw something out there. He had something planned against Harden, I'm sure. And so for Harden to be able to dissect whatever it was that Pop was throwing at him and drop 61 you got to give him credit for that.
You know what's funny though? Or did he? See, that's the question I have. What if Pop was like, we're not going to show him our hand in case we match up with these guys. Let's let Harden do his.
False confidence.
We'll try to compete and still win the game. But when the real crunch time games come, we're going to show Harden how we're going to play him. I kind of think that's the route they went, and it's still impressive what Harden did.
No, for sure. That's a good point.
But knowing Pop and how smart he is, the Bill Belichick type coach, Nick Saban type coach, what do all those coaches have in common, man? They're very hard. They're very hard on everybody, and they're just very smart. They don't like to show their hand. So I'm kind of curious because I when I saw the 61, I thought just like you. I was like, wow, that's super impressive against Pop.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it, I'm like, well, maybe Pop didn't send no help, and maybe he was kind of just letting Harden cook. So if they did match up in the playoffs, he would have no clue what's coming. Type thing.
No, that's a great point, Pete. I like that a lot.
Nevertheless, he still scored 60
points. This is what I'm saying.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
This is what I'm saying with Harden, though. I feel like he does these amazing things, but we'll still find a way to be like, that was impressive, but there had to have been a reason, right?
Yeah.
We got to figure out a way. He scored 30 points against every team, but
I think it's the biggest thing is it's Harden's fault. It is. You know what I'm saying? Like we feel this way about people because they haven't shown us what they can do in the playoffs. They haven't been that same player. So it's really hard to give them maximum credit when they do something amazing in the regular season. Because it's like, like if LeBron drops 61 or KD or someone that performs in the playoffs like a Kyrie, it's like, wow. I feel more impressed than seeing it from someone who's choked in the playoffs so many times.
True.
Just like Russell Westbrook's triple-double average. Like, I would be so much more impressed if it was a guy who performed in the playoffs that could carry his team.
Yeah, like if he had a ring or he was in the championship a couple times, 3 times, and for sure.
You get to the playoffs and then Westbrook doesn't even play anything like that. He's shooting 30% in the series, and like sometimes he'll get a triple-double, but I don't think he's averaging it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a different game. So
it'll be interesting to see, to go back to the original question of MVP talk, it'll be interesting to see. I'm in agreement with you. I think Paul George has definitely fallen out. And I think you're probably right, James Harden, especially with the injuries to Giannis. He probably has taken over. But it will be interesting to see what happens down the stretch if Giannis realizes that it slipped away a little bit and he cares about it and he starts competing at a high level. Now that you're knocked out of the playoffs,
Yeah, you probably will. Giannis just dropped 60 in 3 straight games.
Me and Giannis,
thanks, buddy.
Me and Giannis have always been close, so we talk quite a bit. I let him know I was in a big matchup, but he'll probably turn it on now that I don't got to play against him. So he cares about my pocket more than yours. So
I can really see that happening now.
That's gonna be so funny. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of times, I don't know. It's almost like, I know Steph won back-to-back, and people do win back-to-back, but it's like, I just feel like they're going to want somebody new. And I feel like it's been all year, it's been almost talked about like it's been Giannis's year. They're number one in the East. He's done this, he's done that. Like, this is actually the first time after you brought it up the other day, I started looking into it more because I've only seen everything about Giannis, even through Harden's huge scoring sprees he went on, those 30, the stretch of 30-point games, people still had Giannis above him. So, but when I looked on NBA.com, it was the first time I saw, literally this week, it said Harden 1, Giannis 2, and it had the previous week Giannis 1, and it just had switched. So it's still got to be pretty close, but I feel like if Giannis can go on a tear and come back and actually start playing some games and stop being so soft, I feel like he could still steal it. So it's going to be interesting, man. I still think it's close. Do you still have it close, or do you think right now?
Basically all I have is Harden just barely passed Giannis.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the next 10 games.
And I just in my head, I just keep seeing Giannis sit out or score 27, and Harden's going to keep dropping 40. So it's like really hard to envision Giannis beating him now that Harden's taking a slight lead.
Yeah.
He's got to do something special, man. Like, he dropped 50 the other day, but then he took 3 days off. It's like...
And it was in a loss, too, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a loss.
For sure to win those games.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on with Harden, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. His usage rate's always through the roof, but... I mean, we didn't rant last week, so maybe this is just boiling up, but it's just coming to my mind right now as I'm watching basketball going on.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
I personally, right now, think that Damian Lillard is a better all-around player than James Harden.
Damn, that's pretty bold.
Yeah.
I like Lillard a lot, too.
So James Harden...
Sorry, we had to get it on record.
James Harden might have like a little bit of an edge on him offensively. Obviously, you can't really take that away from James Harden from what he's doing this year. I personally think Dame is a little bit better defensively for the fact that I feel like Dame is just a much tougher dude who actually plays with a lot more effort. He's the type of dude that's going to dive on the floor. He's the type of dude that's going to chop at your legs. He's the type of dude that's constantly trying to poke. Where James Harden is kind of that guy that's just on defense. Like, he doesn't put that much effort defensively.
He still gets a lot of steals.
And then on top of this,
effort shows.
And then on top of this, James Harden to me has zero leadership ability. Like, maybe 1%, but I don't even think so. Yeah. Damian Lillard is a fucking OG leader. I'm going to tell you this right now. I think Damian Lillard is the best leader in the NBA as a player. I mean, obviously, I'm super biased, but just from everything I've seen, the way he acts, the way he takes everything on his shoulders. I mean, he doesn't have as much pressure as like a guy like KD or LeBron, so it's hard to know what he would be like if he got to that limelight. Like, would he start to kind of take on some of the stuff that KD's had to take on? Now the pressure's there. Do you still become the same leader? But just watching what he does, I just feel like his leadership ability, like nobody else does what he does. Everything is on him. He never blames any of his teammates. I don't know, man. I just feel like if I had to go crunch time, it's James Harden or Damian Lillard, and you're in a playoff battle in the fucking mud, and it's you got to pick one player that's going to get you out of that fucking storm. I'm going Damian Lillard, 100%. I just don't think James Harden's got the fucking cojones to get me through anything.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I would love to comp their playoff numbers. It sucks that Lillard had that shitty year. Yeah. Because I bet you if you kind of erase that year, which you can't.
Right.
I bet you Lillard probably has better numbers than Harden in the playoffs for his career.
Yeah, it might be. We definitely got to look it up.
I mean, I told you, when you say this, it's not as bold to me as it is probably to our listeners. Because I look at James Harden as more of a second-tier star, know, and it's mainly because of his playoff performances. They've been god-awful. 41% or less the last 3 years is what he's shooting.
And
it's further, dude, come on.
Further he goes into each series and the further he goes into each game, even on that micro basis, he shoots worse and worse.
Yeah.
He really gasses himself out.
It's just hard to watch, and I can't crown anyone if they can't. To me, I told Corey this earlier. I can't remember what NBA player said this. I was watching maybe The Jump. I can't remember who it was. It was a really good player. Might have been Paul Pierce. But he said that the real greats get better. It might have been an old school player, but he said the real greats get better come playoffs.
Yeah.
The real unique greats. And if you really look at the stats, it's a small list here. We're talking about KD, LeBron, Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Those type
playoff
of players.
Rondo, yeah.
You look like you got the playoff numbers right.
Well, I mean, Lillard doesn't shoot very well in the playoffs either.
No, for sure.
You know, even
last year was horrible.
I mean, last year was horrific. Even his highest point total, his best year, the year before, 2017 playoffs, he shot 43%. You know,
That's not
28 points a game though.
That's
good.
Only
43,
44 is where you want to be for those high volume guards.
Because they're all going to come down, seems like, except for those crazy good number guys. But 96% free throw shooting, you know, it's going to go knock him down. I mean, he's had, he's always averaged over 20 points a game.
Look at the usage rate between the two, because this is the thing. We've never gotten to see. This is what I'm saying. With Dame having CJ on his team, we've never really gotten to see what it could be. Because look at James Harden's usage rate. It's fucking through the roof. Right? The dude's usage rate is by far the highest in the NBA, isn't it? It's got to be.
Oh, wait, you're talking about... I mean,
Harden?
are you really asking this question? Like,
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah, no.
So what I'm saying is, like, we've never gotten to see
I don't
Dame.
know about the playoffs. I'm sure it's the same or similar.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously hard to know because I'm going off a 3 or 4 game stretch here. So obviously it's a little bit of a reach because James Harden's shown that he can do it throughout the whole season at times, you know. So I feel kind of bad, but at the same time, just watching how they play, I don't know. I feel like Dame is honestly a little bit better of a finisher around the league. I feel like Harden's mastered that, like, get that foul, like his craftiness of his getting to the free throw line is unbelievable. But man, I don't know.
I mean, Harden's huge advantage too is he's like a southpaw. You know, he finishes left,
Right.
and then really bomb defenders, they have a tendency down of how they guard guys, and with a left hand player that likes to finish left, it's a little bit different. So it's a huge advantage.
That's a good point.
So I think that has part in to why he gets to the foul line so much and stuff.
No, that's a good point. Well, let me ask you this, Doug. You're a Lakers guy. Your team fucking sucks dick.
Hell
You
yeah.
guys get rid of LeBron. You get to start over. Would you rather have Lillard running your franchise, or would you rather have James Harden? I'm just curious.
Personally, I love Lillard. So, of course, I'm picking Harden. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love Lillard. Because on top of that, there's those intangible things you're talking about, those points about leadership, and just, like, I get jealous of you having a guy like that on your team where it's like, man, that guy that just, like, is this hometown, loves the city and the team guy who just seems like he's going to stay there. He's just so fucking awesome. Like, I love it.
So
He
to me,
seems
I
he's a
feel like
great
as a
leader.
basketball player, some of that stuff has to play because you're
Fun to
elevating
watch.
dudes
And
around
he's
you
a
by the way you
fantastic
act.
player. Yeah.
So maybe it's hard to say because, like, just basketball skill wise, you know, obviously offensively, James Harden's probably got him. But if you add in all the things that make up an NBA player,
Well, how about
if you ask, let's make a Twitter poll on this later on. Would you rather have James Harden or Damian Lillard run your franchise?
I wouldn't do that, bro.
You can get those Houston fans. They get fucking
Oh, no, that's
salty
fine with
as
me.
fuck about Harden.
James
Oh,
Harden is gonna win MVP again, and it's just gonna. It's not even gonna be.
That's fine with me. But how come Charles Barkley and Kenny the Jet Smith ain't picking the fucking Rockets ever to make it to the championship? Why do you think they picked Portland? Not because of fucking CJ. I tell you what, I'm telling you right now, not because of Nurkic. Why are they going on TNT? Why aren't they saying that Harden and the Rockets? Motherfucker's got Chris Paul, Capella, dudes around him. He's got D'Antoni's system. He's got the MVP on his team. How come they ain't picking the Rockets? I'm telling you, because it's Dame. I'm telling you.
Imagine though.
I mean, dude,
I think it's
you're
closer.
You're talking to.
I think it's
Dame
closer to
lovers,
think.
like,
yeah.
No,
I know,
I'm not
I
talking
promise
just to you
you.
guys. I'm talking to my list.
Look.
I'm talking to the listeners.
I promise you, the poll will be 70,
90 to
30,
10.
Well, let's do it.
20.
I'm fine
Yeah,
with
we
that.
can put it out.
I mean, maybe
Putting out polls is
maybe
free.
if the
It's no
Portland,
biggie.
our fellow partners,
Yeah,
over
let's
at Blazer,
get
they
them out
retweet,
there.
they retweet it.
I've seen some
You
pretty
might-
lopsided
we'll make sure they
Lillard
retweet it.
polls before.
that'll definitely help you out because you get some.
Well, what do you
votes,
think?
but-
So, Harden and his offensive prowess and all that, but he plays for the Rockets, like you said.
Yeah.
And he plays with Chris Paul and Clint Capella, and he plays for Mike D'Antoni. Imagine what that team would look like with Dame Lillard on there instead of Harden. Or if Dame Lillard was the building block for a Mike D'Antoni team.
that's a good point. I was actually going to bring that up too because
Yeah, it's a system thing.
yeah, I think any guard in D'Antoni's system can put up MVP
Yeah.
numbers, dude. Seriously. So I mean, James Harden's dope, but how much is that?
Except Kobe. Even actually, yeah, that year with Kobe and that whole trash Lakers team, Kobe put up freaking crazy numbers for being in his 30s playing for Mike D'Antoni, and they weren't even running a system like they are in Houston.
I guess I meant more for point guard.
Yeah,
because they do that fast tempo facilitation type stuff.
Yeah, that's why Steve Nash was up for. Oh no,
no, Steve
Nash.
No,
I mean on the Lakers team.
But he won 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who was in the twilight of his career.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you know.
No, I still get mad about that season.
But, Dame's dope. Yeah. I would pick Dame if I had to pick a player. Like, I don't know who's better, honestly. I think this is a big year. Let's just put it like this.
Especially playoffs.
Whoever plays better in the playoffs, I'm going to say is better. Right. That's fair.
I like that.
Just better overall.
Better overall player. If Harden plays better, I'm going to give it to him. If Dame plays better, I'm going to give it to him.
That's the
Whoever shows me the most this year.
Respect that.
I understand the argument when you're coming from, well, I mean, Harden's kind of got him on the offensive end, but I'm saying all around. But it's like, I mean, most people would ask, is Harden only kind of better than him on the offensive end, or is he miles ahead of him? And then you have to wonder about whether it's the system, whether it's just Harden, whether it's that usage rate and stuff. But I mean, a lot of it, it's like, I don't know. People could say he's not slightly better than him offensively. He's way better than Dame offensively, is what a lot of people would argue. I don't know. But I think that system and all that really plays a lot into it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's obviously, I think Harden does have the edge offensively. Like, I'm not so biased to say that he doesn't. I mean, the dude's a freak. But
I'm just saying how big that edge is, is
right.
Is going to be a big difference.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess it's the way who's viewing it is probably.
I don't think it's as big as. I think you're right. People will think it's big, but I don't think it's as big as people should think.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm not just talking to both of you because I know you guys have given Dame plenty of credit in the past. I think I guess I'm more talking to the dudes, and I say this all the time. I just don't understand how you can have the Rockets as a 2nd seed going into the fucking season. You have the Blazers as a goddamn 10 seed, and then the Rockets finish 3rd. The Rockets are in a 3 seed, a half game above the Blazers, who are a 4 seed. But then you give Harden way more credit than you would give Dame. If you pick Dame to get an 11 or 12 seed, and now you're not going to give him the love when he carried a team because you say he doesn't have any help, and now he's carrying him to a 4 seed, it's like, I don't know. That's the shit that don't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Those are the types of dudes I'm talking to. Obviously, you guys give him love all the time, but I'm talking to the dudes that don't give him love.
Dude, that's what I hate about the NBA, or any sports in general. It's the whole lose. If you lose, it's almost better to just lose early. It is.
And not get exposed to all the talk that you could be.
Yeah. If you lose early and then... Well, the main thing is okay, check us out. I'll give you an example, like Kevin Durant and LeBron James, who I always love to comp, as you would say. So, everyone hates Kevin Durant. Everyone hates him still. Right? Mm-hmm. Because he didn't lose like a little bitch. He didn't choke when he was the favorite. All right, LeBron James. Everyone hated him that first year. After he lost, he got clowned on, but then empathy kicked in. And people saw him crying and all sad. And even me, dude, I hate LeBron. And I'm like, damn, man.
When?
This is kind of hard to watch.
After he lost the first
one. After he lost to Dallas.
Yeah. Him and Wade went on some vacation, and Wade had to basically not talk him off a cliff, but pretty close. LeBron was losing his mind.
Anybody who has
empathy, had empathy for that team? What are you talking about?
People had empathy for LeBron. Yes, I'm talking about after they lost. Trust me, that you're crazy if you don't think that some people change their opinion. Because even me, I started to feel bad for LeBron a little bit. And this is before I really, really hated him. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn. I know he was the heavy favorite, but. And it felt good. It felt good to watch him lose. But at the same time, dude, when you see a man giving his interview and just so defeated, and he's a good person, you kind of are like, damn, all right, this guy gets one, maybe I'm not going to be
at least one.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is had he won that first one, he would have still been hated.
Yeah.
But once he lost, it made him vulnerable, and it made that team vulnerable. So people were like, wow, LeBron won. It didn't become like he stacked, how did he win type shit,
Right.
But with KD, had he lost that first one, we all would have laughed. But then the next
So
year,
you
had he
think-
won, it would have
so
validated
how-
it more.
So how does this compare to what Dame's going through, or what?
Well,
he could
James
go through
Harden
in his
lost
career?
early. They looked
Or
like trash
Harden.
early. We were like, the
Oh,
Rockets
okay.
suck.
Yeah.
So then when they come back, it's like, oh my God, dude, what a comeback. Like, how did James Harden do this?
Oh,
Whereas
yeah.
Lillard's been consistently good all year.
Yeah.
And, you
I
know, it's
get
not
you.
a cool story. Like, so I feel like that's why Harden's getting all this love. And it's because they started off so poorly early. But he's right. They were picked
To be a
before the
2 or
season to be
3
the 2 seed.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, how do you feel bad for a team that struggled when they shouldn't have struggled?
It's like Boston,
You know?
too. Yeah.
It's an empathy thing. Once a team, yeah.
No, I think that's a great. I think that's a great point, Pete. No, that totally makes sense for sure. This is the same probably thing LeBron's going to get next year when the Lakers finally make the playoffs. Everyone's
Yeah,
like,
just
oh my
after-
God.
After last year, look
He
at
carried
what they
them.
did.
We all knew he wasn't making the playoffs last year. Everybody predicted it. Not just the Limitless Range podcast. It was every fucking podcast.
Although they were first.
They were,
I'm
you
sure
get their
they'll
quotas.
give you credit, Corey, on ESPN.
They better.
No, it's true though, dude. Like LeBron being this loser that he is now, he literally set himself up. I'm serious. You think I'm joking? Like, I wonder if he fucking plans this shit out, dude. I really think he does.
He's pretty savvy.
He is, bro. Dude, he is savvy. I'm serious. I wonder if he was like, all right, if we don't make the playoffs,
Dude, just watch.
think about
What's
it.
the plot going to be like in Space Jam 2? Some sort of comeback thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's all being planned
but
out.
seriously, Doug, think
Like
about
this,
it.
you think
He
this
doesn't make the
season
playoffs,
was as
bro.
scripted as Space Jam 2.
He doesn't allow KD to beat him again. And if you got the 8th seed, he
Right.
was going to allow KD to beat him
True.
again on the resume.
But here's the biggest thing.
And now KD's going to go to the East.
No. Him not making the playoffs. What did that change? Expectations.
Yeah.
Seriously.
now he's got
Sure.
no pressure.
Now next year, the year after
Just
that,
make the playoffs.
just make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is going to be like,
The Lakers missed the last 6 years, and here they are.
Yeah.
LeBron got them there.
the expectations are different now.
I'll take it. That's what I was going for this year.
So,
No, you're
we'll see
right.
What happens?
Oh, that's a great point.
Hey, that was Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. He said, I've learned that the lower, I set my expectations, the easier it is to impress people. I beat him.
Man, I
I
went on a
just get
Damian
really
Lillard
half
rant.
about-
Are we leaving the Damian Lillard rant with that?
No, dude. Please say something.
Well, that's and so
I'll
it's
just
like
play it. I'll just play
Go
it.
for it.
well, and then that's weird. Like you're saying, then still on one hand, the Blazers' expectations are always set low, and then they beat those expectations. But at the same time, over the course of the season, because all the media has the attention span of a goldfish, like you're saying, well, over the season, though, they've been consistent, they've been winning, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, they just have it both ways all the time, it seems like.
It's not just
What it
him.
comes down to is they just don't
I'll
care.
give you another example.
They just don't care
I'll give you
because
another
it's
example.
Portland. So
Denver Nuggets.
yeah,
2 seed all year, 1 seed sometimes.
it's like they
Nobody
were out
talks
of the
about
playoffs
them.
last year.
Yeah, nobody cares.
They're the number
Is
one team, go-to
Joker
team.
getting playoff MVP love?
No.
Nobody cares. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
a
how it
great
is.
point. Yeah, if either one of those teams would have been more like the 9 seed, like where the Lakers were last month, and then Damian or Jokic would have carried the team to win like 13 in a row, right now they'd be like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
this guy's
This is
unbelievable.
the hot team.
He's the hottest team in the NBA right now.
I give you an example. You just naming that. The Spurs. They went on that hot streak. Now everyone, Greg Popovich's the best coach in NBA history. You're seeing that headline. Even though I've always thought that.
Sure.
I've already thought that.
Right.
But now it's getting more hype. Why? Because they started off crappy and now they're hot.
Yeah.
Down the stretch.
Yeah.
So now he's getting all this love as a coach and all this stuff, even though we already knew he was a great coach.
Yeah. Instead, the Nuggets, like you're saying, they are all the other podcasts I hear or anything like that. They're everyone's go-to choice when it's like, what do you think? What team do you think could be upset in the playoffs? Well, I mean, depending on how the seeding is, I think they could take out Denver. It's like, why does everyone? They were ahead of the Warriors for 2 months.
Nobody likes consistency, dude.
Yeah.
If most people who
So you think you're going to go to Denver and upset them?
Well, and
I don't know.
they've never been there for sure.
Yeah.
That's I think that big thing. Like nobody's seen him in the playoffs, so we don't have that like memory of doing this. I tell you what, it's going to come down to. It's going to be interesting, like you said, with Harden or Lillard, who's going to compete. They could end up matching up against each other,
Hell
which would
yeah.
be sick for us to find out.
would be
That
the
would be
best.
the battle right there. But it's
I
going to
would
be
love
interesting because right now Portland is in the 4 seed with like 3 games up on OKC. So it looks like they're most likely going to at least get the 4 seed. And they're only a game behind Houston. And I looked at the last like 10 to 12 games or however many are left. dude, Portland plays some shitty ass teams. Like, I looked and it's like the Lakers. I mean, obviously, easy. But they got like the Hawks. The Pistons are all right, but they got like a lot of the East teams, the Knicks and stuff, and the Rockets play like Denver twice and things. So like Portland could get the 3 seed, play against like Utah or San Antonio, which is still a tough matchup. But Houston might have to play OKC 4 versus 5, and then they might have to play the Warriors in the second round, which would be crazy. The Rockets and Warriors second round.
Wait, where's OKC City? Last I heard they were
OKC fell
8.
down to the 8th seed.
Yeah, but all those times were they're in the 5 seed now.
They'll be,
Oh, they're in the 5 seed
yeah,
now?
Yeah,
Okay.
so all those
So
teams are like a half game. The 5 through the 8 are like a half game away. So they were the 8 seed, then they win one game, they're back to the 5. If San Antonio wins a game and OKC loses, they're back to the 5.
Who's the 9 seed?
The Kings still, I think.
Kings, but they're way out. Yeah, so it's all just shaking out the playoff seeding itself, huh?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a close like last year where there was a play-in game pretty much.
Yeah,
That's too bad.
for sure. Well, I apologize for all the cussing in this bonus version. Make sure you let them know it's explicit or bleep it out, whatever you got to do. But I don't know, man. I get riled up talking about Dame, so
No,
it'll just start yelling at you guys like you're the haters out there. It's funny.
If you're looking for a great deal on authentic NBA jerseys and apparel, you've got to use the NBA Store. Limitless Range has partnered with the NBA Store to get you big discounts on real NBA gear, including up to 60% off all clearance items when you visit limitlessrangepodcast.com/store. Don't search the internet all day for cheap knockoffs or used jerseys. Get real, authentic apparel at really great prices. And support Limitless Range while you're doing it. Visit limitlessrangepodcast.com/store today and get everything you need to rep your favorite team. limitlessrangepodcast.com/store. All right. Well, moving on from that long rant, we got a listener question from Jersey winner Kyle. It's actually a pretty cool question. So he wanted to know, what are the starting 5 for your toughest players in the NBA team? So you got starting 5 by position. Who are your toughest players in the NBA? Real fun, scrappy players. He said to clarify, I'm talking gritty guys who play their heart out on a nightly basis. So I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So who do you got? Let's start you off. Let's go, Corey. Who do you got? First player.
I'm gonna start us off at the center position.
Okay.
I'm going with Steven Adams.
No Damian Lillard?
He's at
All 5 positions.
He's at small forward through shooting guard. I didn't want to go too biased. But yeah, no, Steven Adams, I feel like the dude is just I feel like just even looking at him, his hair, the dude just looks like a beast, and the way he plays, he's one of those guys that I feel like just plays his role. And he's one of those guys that's going to get in your face and bump you and do what you got to, but he's not a guy that's like got to throw 19 punches a year to let you know he's tough. He's just a raw, tough dude with long hair. You hear his voice, he's like, yeah, what do you guys need? You're like, holy crap. Like if I saw that guy would, obviously I would never want to see that guy in a dark alley. He just looks like he would tear me up. But yeah, he's just a solid dude, and I feel like he plays night in and night out. He just does his thing, and as the question asked, a dude that you feel like plays his heart out. I feel like that dude's always done it.
Yeah, I like that one. I like Steven Adams. I'm going to go with Boogie Cousins at center. I don't know, just something about him, man. I like how tough he is, and I don't think it's fake. I like that he stands up for his teammates. He stands up for himself, and I feel like whenever I watch him play, he's really physical, man. Like, I would hate to be posting up against him, man. Yeah. He's poking the ball. He's bumping you with his chest.
For sure.
Just getting his, sweaty body all over you, man. You're like, hell off, man. I'm trying to post up here. He's just hovering over you, his weight. So, I mean, like, he doesn't take crap from nobody, and I like Cousins a lot, man. I think I would say he's one of the toughest center.
Tough. He's got edge. Yeah. That's for sure.
I like that one.
What do you got then? Since we're starting from center, what do you got for power forward, Corey?
It's funny you brought up, DeMarcus Cousins, because this dude, I pictured this actually when I picked this guy, Zach Randolph. I know he hasn't played this year, but I still picture him in the league. One time when there was a free throw going on, and he's down in the block with DeMarcus Cousins, and he looked over at Cousins, and he was like, "Where I'm from, bullies get bullied." And I just feel like Zach Randolph's that type of dude that would be like, you know what? You're a young bully in the league, but I'm a veteran bully, and I see you try to take my spot, and I'm going to make sure you know about it, And I just always felt like Zach Randolph is one of those guys, man. Zebo, obviously, playing in Portland, I got to see it a little bit and stuff, and I've always liked the way that dude plays.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Pete?
I like Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching him this year, man, he's undersized. You talk about gritty and tough, man. I see this guy just banging with the other centers and power forwards, getting those rebounds, and I'm really impressed. I'm blown away with how the dude plays. I like him. I would take him on my team any day. He's got the hustle, he's got the effort, and he's another one of those just quiet guys. Just goes out there and just imposes his will on you. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I think he's definitely a big part of the reason that the Clippers have been where they are. And I think he's just underappreciated. Really, yeah. I mean, he's starting to get talked about a little bit, but I mean, the things he does, I like him as well. It's a good one.
Yeah, they say, the Clippers, it always gets said that, they're just a team where they all play their heart out, and he's a big part of that. Yeah, that's why they're doing so well. Oh, yeah. Well, then we'll get to small forward. Let's see. What do you got, Corey? Let's get back to you.
Man, it's so tough for me to utilize this guy after this year, but I've always Jimmy Butler is the type of dude that I've just always thought is super tough. Before this year, I've always really loved Jimmy Butler. As we shared in some of our first podcasts, he's the type of dude that we just love his grit and the way he plays with, energy on the defensive side. And you brought up, the fact that he was homeless at one point in his life, and he's just cut from a different cloth, as you always say. And I've always liked the way the dude plays. He's kind of put a sour taste in my mouth with the way he's been treating franchise and stuff, but I certainly don't think it makes him not tough.
No, Jimmy Butler's a great one, man.
Yeah.
I like Jimmy Butler a lot. I had to go with this guy. He doesn't even play a lot, but I watched play the other day. He actually had a good game. But James Johnson.
Yeah.
I had to go with James Johnson,
the Heat?
man.
Heck yeah.
Miami Heat. The dude has a crazy resume, man. Listen to this. He's 7-0 as an MMA fighter, right? 20-0 in his kickboxing matches. And has a 2nd-degree black belt.
Jeez.
Like, who the hell is trying to check James Johnson in the NBA?
Right?
In today's soft-ass NBA.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I guarantee you, whoever tries to check him is going to have a lot of load management days. That's for sure.
That's a definition of tough right there. I knew he was involved in some of that stuff, but I didn't realize he was actually putting down records and stuff like that.
See some of this stuff. That's crazy. Pretty impressive.
That's crazy. No, that is a good one. I mean, even not knowing, the records and stuff like that, even just watching him play, you feel some of that stuff. Oh, yeah. So that's a great one.
Yeah, it could come in handy on the court, even not just to fight someone, but man, just being tough as nails like that, having that discipline to do that.
Yeah, being intimidating is definitely plays a factor for sure.
Yeah.
So then we're moving to shooting guards, right? Who do you got, Corey?
Shooting guards. I think this guy obviously could play in the PG spot or the shooting guard spot, but I bumped him over the shooting guard spot. It's Marcus Smart.
He starts as shooting guard.
Does he start? Oh, yeah, he does start a shooting guard. Let's do Kyrie.
Guard.
Yeah, that's true. He plays sometimes, I feel like, off the bench as a PG, so I guess. But, yeah, he rushes us both. I just feel like he's always been a tough dude. He's the type of guy that's diving on the floors. He's the type of dude that just, is always playing hard-nosed defense. And then, it just put it as a lock the other day when he pushed Joel Embiid like 9,000 feet, dude. I mean, God, he's got to be just super tough.
Oh, you did hear though that he got some flack for that, right?
Did he?
Yeah, there was all over ESPN. They're basically saying because he wasn't looking. And he
Sure. No,
yeah.
for sure.
Fake tough.
It's almost like a sucker punch. The dude's not looking. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that sucker push. I like that.
But I love it, man. I mean, the dude's
he's a tough
7 foot what, 2, something like that, or whatever. 7'1".
He laid him on the floor.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Who do you got, Pete? Shooting guard.
I went with my boy Drew Holiday, man.
Yeah.
I think he's just one of them silent, tough guys. Doesn't really talk much, just goes out there, does his job, gets in your face, plays tremendous defense.
Mm-hmm.
He locked up Harden, like a month ago or something like that. He was going against James Harden. It was awesome, man. Blocked him like 4 times. And I remember we were talking with our buddy, and he posted in our chat, and he was like, "Oh, Harden's going to drop 70. The Pelicans have the worst defense in the league." And I was like, bro, you do know that Drew Holiday is going to guard him, though. So.
Yeah.
Right.
And he wound up having a crappy game for Harden standards.
Sure,
It was
yeah.
like 28 points on like crappy shooting or something.
So you hold him under 30.
Yeah.
That's good.
I like
Yeah.
Drew Holiday a lot.
I like Drew Holiday a lot too.
He's got the Karate Kid headband thing going.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
Right?
Danielson.
That's
So,
true. Yeah, he's one of
He
those
could-
just one of those. Yeah, like you said, he's just a quiet, tough dude. And obviously, I gained a lot more respect from it. What he went through a couple years ago with he had his pregnant wife caught brain cancer and stuff like that, and so he went through a hard time. And to see him, I mean, there was possibility he was never going to come back and play just from what his family was going through, and to come back and still play and do that and be part of the team and yeah, dude, I've always liked Drew Holiday. I mean, other than the fact that he shut Dame down last year in the playoffs, but that's just a testament
Only
to who
because
he is.
he's that tough.
Yeah,
That's
right. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
You have to be a tough player to shut Dame down,
yeah,
right?
no,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like-
Yeah, no, exactly. I like that. That's a good one.
Well, then who do you got for point guard?
I got Pat Bev. I got Patrick Beverly, man.
Yeah.
I feel like the same reason, with Harrell and what the Clippers have done. I know they got Lou and stuff, but that team really just doesn't have, a superstar that's really been carrying them. And it really is that feistiness is just a team in general. And I think he leads the charge of that, And the other night against the Lakers when it was kind of, or I guess it was a couple weeks ago now, but when it was kind of, LA versus LA, if the Lakers beat the Clippers, then maybe they'll have a chance. If they lose, it's pretty much done. And Pat just put a stamp on it, man. He's over there just pumping up Staples, and he's just freaking, after the game, he's swinging his towel. In the locker room, even there's a video, he's like, let's go. The dude's just constantly jacked. And I feel like he's the type of dude that's just like, you play, he's just constantly like pestering you on the defensive end, and you're like, dude, get off me, bro. I can't breathe, man. We're 90 feet away from the basket, and I don't even get to touch the ball. Why are you covering me? Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to play against him. So, and I feel like he's a tough dude.
What do you think, Pete?
We finally agree on a player. That's
Heck
for
yeah.
sure. So I went with Patrick Beverly too, and a lot of the same reasons you're saying. I mean, I love that he called out LeBron basically, and then went in there and actually showed up, played good defense on him, and he had like 5 steals that game, and a lot of them was them trying to get. LeBron was trying to post him up, for the size mismatch, and he would just jump the pass and tip it up and steal it. Just some impressive plays, and I love how physical he is. And like you said, bro, I hate, personally, I love playing basketball, and I'm tough and physical, and I hate going against guys that are like just, all over you, just like won't let you breathe, dude. Those are the toughest guys to play against, seriously. You can't like get to the sweet spots that you love. They don't allow you to get to the spots you love to get to. Like there's certain spots on the block I love to get the ball and post up. And really good defenders will push me out of there, kind of knee me and shove me. And just, it's annoying, but at the same time, I have a lot of respect for that,
Yeah.
And I want that on my
On
team.
your team, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the type
for
of guy
sure.
you want.
So,
Yeah, he's the type of dude after you get done playing him, like he's the reason like you're sore after a game. Like, well, what are you so sore? Like, well, freaking Pat Bev ran into my hip like 97 times and he wasn't even covering me. Like he just ran by and threw an elbow real quick, and it's like, God,
yeah.
get out of here.
I love that he went at Westbrook too a few years ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Yeah.
like, to me, it was like the toughest guard in the league going against the fakest toughest guy in the league. Seriously, I think Westbrook's so phony, always trying to fight kids and stuff. And,
It's like,
Beverly went at him. He ain't scared of him. And
Yeah,
I love that battle they
busting
have.
his knee up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it really says something about Pat Beverly. I mean, you guys both had him. And when I got the question, literally, I mean, as soon as I read it, he was the first person that came to mind for me, too.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
was like, oh, who is your top 5 Pat Beverly type players? That's pretty much what the question is almost.
We can't leave out his story, too, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
cut. Nobody believes in him. Played overseas. Like, he's one of those type of dudes that literally just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding his way.
Yeah.
Trying to make a team, trying to prove those type of things. So,
Yeah, no, for sure. It's funny too because obviously a lot of times these players were announcing, aren't usually the stars of the league. And I feel like a lot of times that comes from those things like you're talking about with the Pat Bev story or the Jimmy Butler story or some of those things that people go through because they weren't always the stars. So to get where they had to get to, they had to become those types of people and they had to work their ass off. It wasn't going to be handed. Not that the stars don't work their ass off, but it just has to come differently.
Yeah.
The star's going to be, already good and he's got to put in his own work. But the other guy's like, this team's not even going to have me if I'm not diving for every loose ball and I'm not poking at everything and doing that stuff. So a lot of these guys, I mean, it's just like, wow, the stuff they had to come through is just impressive.
Yeah, I truly believe like that's what separates like some of these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see somebody with immense talent and they didn't let's say like the LeBron Jordan comparison. I feel like Jordan having all the troubles he had when he was younger, getting cut from his high school team and having to learn how to play ball in college at North Carolina. I mean, under the great coach that he played for.
For sure.
And it's like he learned all those things, you know what I'm saying? And being the tutelage that he got, not being like courted as, oh, you're Michael Jordan, the best player, Those type of things is what helped him become the player he is and kept him hungry. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like someone like a LeBron James, who's amazing, the most talented player, probably the most talented, gifted player I've ever seen. With my own two eyes, right? We can all agree on that. Like if we had to build a specimen, right?
Yeah.
Of just body and physicality and what their, hops, and you would take LeBron over almost anybody, right?
Yeah.
But then he grew up, I know he grew up poor and stuff, but he grew up where everybody was like, you're the king, you're the chosen one.
The greatest basketball player around.
You don't really push it's a little bit different pushing yourself. I use this example too with Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady. I can't stand the guy. There's any player I hate more in the NFL, it's Tom Brady. But I respect the fact that he was hungry. He stays hungry. He takes team discounts, which allows his team to build the team differently because he wants to win more than anything. Yeah. That's his number one priority. He was a 6th-round draft pick. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody believed in him. And that's what kept him hungry. And that's where I believe that his greatness was brought out because of those things. Mm-hmm. Who knows what Tom Brady would have been if everybody was on his jock in college saying, you're the best. You're going to be the best. Would he have really dug deep and pushed himself? I kind of wish LeBron got doubted because think about it. We didn't see the best version of LeBron until people doubted his greatness after the Dallas Mavericks series.
True.
That's what pushed him. That's what gave him that fire. I got to learn to post up. I got to add more elements to my game rather than just relying on my athletic ability. Mm-hmm. That would push him. Imagine if he had that in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like where someone locked him up and embarrassed the hell out of him. Yeah. He might have been that great player early on and would have won more championships. Wow. I feel like you have to be tested. And if everyone's on your jock when you're young, that's my fear, a little bit of fear with Zion, He's kind of getting a LeBron treatment.
I wonder if he kind of knows that. He made that comment the other day that he would rather play for a small market team. Did you see that? Than go somewhere big. I mean, I don't know. He has no say in it, but he kind of has that mindset. He even said, I didn't think I was going to be this good or something.
Yeah, I think he is different. Yeah. I do feel that. I do feel it, but I mean, when everyone's blowing your ego, saying you're going to be the best player,
that's tough.
It could get to you. It could kill some of that motivation.
Yeah, for sure.
That keeps you hungry. I hope it doesn't, because I like him. I like Zion a lot, and I want to see him do big things. But I feel like a lot of players, I'm sure like Damian Lillard's another one. Weber State, nobody believed in him. Nobody cared about him. Yeah, I'm sure he's over there busting his ass, working out like. Man, I'm going to show these motherfuckers, man. I'm reading these goddamn reports, and I'm supposed to go 12th?
Yeah.
I'm way better than the 12th pick in this draft. You got me projected there, wherever he's projected. I'm just...
No, for sure. No, that's a great point. He wasn't called by UNC or Duke or any of those things, so it's like, Weber State, that's what I got, man. And then, he's the leading scorer in the nation, and no one was like, Dame could go first. So, I'm glad you brought up Dame. We haven't brought him up today, so I love that. I appreciate that one, dude. Let's go. Dame Dollar. I love it. No, that's a great point, though. He's definitely another one.
He fits the build, somebody that was doubted, and you see him push to be great.
A lot of times, those are the dudes, too, that, like, everybody loves around the league, Like, obviously, Patrick Beverley's annoying or, stuff. But a lot of times, when they go through that stuff, it seems like a lot of times those are the players that people respect a lot.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. The one that they want on their team, even if they annoy them on the court playing against them.
Nope. Yeah, for sure.
Well, then that about wraps it up for that. You got a buzzer beater question real quick, Pete?
Ooh.
Oh, shoot, man. I really hadn't even thought of anything. Let's see.
Something quick and spontaneous.
All right. I've been watching the tournament. This is, I gave you guys a college one last week, but I'm curious about your guys' opinion on this. We all know Zion's going number one. After watching what Ja did,
Yeah.
who do you guys like better? Barrett as the number 2 pick if you were a GM, or Ja?
Me, it's Ja.
Oh, okay. Tell us why.
Just that all round. I mean, I was just watching a breakdown of him just yesterday or this morning or something like that. Of course, shout out to the B-Ball Breakdown. They do all the best stuff. But,
For sure.
man, really breaking down like his decision making and how poised and how professional that guy looks. Like, it's something else. I mean, they all look fantastic. I just feel like Barrett, it's just kind of one of those, well, they're a projected top pick. You got to showcase them. They feed him a lot. They just try to get him out there. It feels like he's there at Duke to play to get into the lottery, like a normal, just one and done player. I don't know. Something about Ja. I just love the way he plays. Plus, I feel like he could, I don't know, he could be a building block for a young team, that sort of thing, because he can do it all.
For sure.
I mean, his passing just his passing is just so ridiculous. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a great point. I go Ja as well. I think it's tough. I think obviously it's those three, right? It's Zion, Ja, and then Barrett. Obviously those top three. Zion number one, and then it is between those two. I mean, nobody else is even going to get close. I don't care what happens in the tournament. I don't think anybody's bumping any of those three off. Yeah. I think the tough part is, I mean, for starters, the reason I like him so much is the fact that it's kind of like what we're talking about. He's at Murray State. He's not at one of these big colleges. He's having to go through some of that. He's got that grit, right? He's got, and he's having to go through that. And, some of the comparisons I've seen, I hate to throw John Wall into him because John Wall has, been a little injury prone lately. I don't want him to end up in a wheelchair. But another one is De'Aaron Fox. And I wanted to let everyone know, I said that name correctly. It's De'Aaron Fox. And then, like a Westbrook in a way. He's just super athletic. He's the first D1 player since they started counting assists to average 20 and 10, which is super impressive in itself. The one thing that's tough to know is really what Barrett can be. I guess we did see Zion out a little bit, but I mean, shoot, this team got, for the get-go, they had Zion, they have Reddish, they got Barrett. It's like the Golden State Warriors, it's like, what can Kevin Durant do? I mean, obviously we got to see him, but if Durant we hadn't got to see him at OKC and it's just Durant, Steph, and Clay, it's like, man, what can Durant do by himself? And I feel like Barrett's kind of been under Zion and all this stuff, and it's like, if he had his own team, what could this dude do, But I think we're getting to see what Ja can do with his own team. And if I was a GM, that's the dude I would go with. What about you?
Man, we're all in agreement here.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of you guys would take RJ, but
yeah.
I think I was talking with somebody, it might have been Big Damn. I don't want to misquote him. I think he said he still liked RJ better, but I could be wrong.
Well, we'll try to pick Dan's brain too. We'll talk more college ball next week.
We'll see if we can get Dan on. I know DZ's a big college guy, so this would be a perfect time to kind of break down the Sweet 16 next week and see what's going on.
But yeah, dude, Ja, there's something about him that's special. And what's funny is I hate the comps he's getting. I really don't see Westbrook. I mean, athletically, he's got some crazy athleticism,
but he's a better passer.
Just don't give me. I hear a lot of people comping him to Westbrook, not just what you brought up.
Sure.
So, I'm not going with Westbrook.
Yeah.
I heard one person say Magic, and I thought that was pretty cool. But I wouldn't go that far. But I definitely feel like it's not a willing passer. He's a great passer.
Yeah.
There's a difference between like an athletic freak who can get to the hole and knows the corner's going to drop, so he's kicking it to the corner.
Yeah.
And a guy that can see 3 plays ahead. Like Alonzo Ball is a great passer. You may not like him, but he has beautiful vision.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson has beautiful vision. Go watch Jokic, and you will be blown away because he he'll see a cutter come. He's making a skip pass to the corner, and you're like, whoa, I didn't feel that. Like, how did he know that guy was going to be wide open?
Right.
Like, there's a huge difference when you're making those type of passes than when you're just making a dribble penetration pass to the corner that you know is going to be there because the guy's going to drop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Westbrook's a great passer. When I see him pass, he's an okay passer, but I'm not blown away with his passing ability, you know? Mm-hmm. So I just feel like, and then the 10 assists, that's huge. Granted, he's played against worse competition being at Murray State, but 10 assists a game. And the thing is his teammates, if you look at them, bro, they look like guys that I play with at Hoop Fest, or guys I go against. They like this big old center. He's like chunky, you know. He's like, you know, he's got okay post game, but their passing looks like they're literally playing street ball. Like when you watch his teammates pass the ball around, it's like flying out of bounds. You're like, whoa, why did he even risk that? So
he doesn't have a supporting cast at all.
He doesn't. And to average 10 assists with those guys, even though he's playing against worse competition, is super impressive. I don't know if, you know, I heard this on ESPN, but they basically said he averages 10. No other player in college averages 8 assists.
Yeah.
That's crazy to be 2 assists above everybody else.
And his passes in transition are just so beautiful. He just nails it right in people's hands.
And that's why
that racks up a couple right there. It's like, just keep going for those rebounds because he'll get it to you. Just run up the court.
I think he's going to be a triple-double machine when he gets in the league. Because, I mean, he's already averaging 6 rebounds, too.
For sure.
You put him in the NBA and translate those, dude, it's like, you know, he's in just a translation would, because the minutes are up. There's more minutes in the NBA game, you know?
Yeah.
You're talking about, you know, 20-something points, 12 assists, and 8-9 rebounds a game. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to do that, but that's what the translation would be, jumping from league, you know?
So you think if he has the potential to average a triple-double in his rookie year, then are you going to draft him ahead of Zion in fantasy?
Nah.
No?
Here's the thing. It's the competition he faced. So I'm not sure if he can really produce
see.
that. If he faced, like, you know, Duke and North Carolina and those types of teams consistently, and he averaged those same numbers, then I would be thinking more like that. But I got to see him play against better competition and see what he can really do. But the funny thing is I feel RJ is Russell Westbrook. I'm not really a fan of his style of play. That's who I want to count to Westbrook. High volume, streaky shooter, not consistent, you know, loves to shoot 30 times a game, even if it's 10 for 30. You know,
right.
He can make the right pass and get the assist, but he's not a brilliant passer. It's more of a dribble penetration, you know, hit the corner for the 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I see when I see RJ. So I definitely feel like I would go with Ja. And I feel like it's come to like the number 1 pick was like, oh my God, I want Zion. I need Zion. And if I don't get number 1, this sucks. You know, like you could go back to drafts where it's like number 1's dope and number 2's just trash, right?
Top heavy.
Yeah. But this year I feel like whoever gets number 2 is going to get a nice consolation prize with Ja.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I think the interesting thing too, I mean, with Barrett, I can see some of that stuff. He's definitely streaky. But I've seen the comparisons to Harden. He's kind of that slithery, get to the paint, and kind of like you talked about being a lefty player. Let's see if that, you know, that could play an advantage to him, right? Yeah. I mean, being able to do some of the similar stuff as Harden, that might be an advantage, as you touched on earlier with James.
Yeah, but you could see those step back threes from Ja that look like Harden too. He does that same sidestep stuff.
It'll be interesting. I think it also depends, right, on. It's going to be weird to see who gets these spots, right? Let's say New York lands Zion, and then the other dudes that are around. I mean, obviously Phoenix could use a PG, but I mean, Cleveland just drafted Sexton, so now it's like, all right, yeah, boo somebody else in this range, or Atlanta just drafted Trae Young, so it's like, okay, like what are they gonna do around these guys? You know, if you're Atlanta and you get the second pick, do you go Ja and now you got Ja and Trae Young on the roster? I mean, obviously it's one of those things you got to go probably the best guy on the roster, but it's like, man, do you just trade back a little bit with somebody to get the 5th pick but also get an extra pick? I think that's going to play a factor too, right? Who gets what spot, and that's going to move some things too. Probably not those top 3 necessarily, but it's definitely going to move some things around.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
all right, well, you want to wrap it up, Corey?
Yeah, man. As always, this is just it's always a good time, man. This is the time. It's funny, I'm going to start sharing some things throughout this next week on Instagram, so take a look at that. But the dudes I work with, man, don't know anything about basketball. So the chance I get to chat with you fellas and the dudes we get to bring in and anybody who calls us in and whatnot, like this is like my favorite time of the week a lot of times because it's the only chance I get to actually like talk basketball. You bring it up. I'm all excited. Something happened with Portland and I'm at work. I'm like, yo, dude, did you see the game last night? They're like, well, who played? I'm like, are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah.
Harden dropped 61. James Harden, like, who does he play for? He's the guy with the beard, right? He's kind of in some commercials. You're like, oh my god, man. When James Harden and Chris Paul are known more for their State Farm commercials than they are for their NBA abilities, you're like, man, I can't even chat with these guys about this. So as always, man, it's just fun doing it. And as the listeners, just keep hitting us up. Obviously, as we touch on, go to the NBA or go to our website and go to the NBA store through our website if you guys want some sweet merchandise. And looking forward to the rest of the March Madness tournament. We'll chat about that a little bit next week. Hopefully we can get DZ on. And as always, Rip City, right?
Wrong.